Welcome to another joyful creation session, a playful creation session, sacred play, pure creation. I actually did a bunch of creating already, so I'm just going to show you some things. And then as we go through and look at some of this stuff, we will click like on some of the ones that we like. Well, I will. And that is a filtering. So we'll do a little curating. We'll favorite some as we go. We may remix some as well. So let's begin. So I ran this thing, which now is called, for whatever reason, Joy Sparker. And here's what we got. The one when I ran it before, it gave one a message with generative thinking. And then I read the back of it, and the image that it was showing was something that I imagined in my mind, which was this vision of these white steps by the ocean, something that I created sometime in 2025. Now, here we have the next one, because it isn't set up yet to bring up the cards that were already made. It does log all of them, so we can bring them back, right? So don't worry, nothing's being lost. It's all being created and generated, and we can improve upon it. So we can take basically these images that are coming up are things I've made in the past and saved to my computer. So there's already been a curation process there. So it's picking a random image and it's picking a random condensed note. And there's only 25 condensed or 24 condensed notes in the system right now. Many more will be there, right? I just added this last night where we bring together a message and an image. I created that last night. So, of course, many more will be in it soon. This is just a starter beginning thing. So it's pretty cool that we have this image here with the joy kernel because this thing actually evolved from a remix adventure back in May 2025 of a dragon or dinosaur with a cup of coffee in the forest. And it evolved, and I made him cycle through these different art styles. And then it became abstract, and then I brought in the circular composition pattern, and then I end up with these rings in the sky like that, right? So that's one of those. You'll be able to see how that thing evolved another time because it's all tracked. Like I have a lineage traced of all this stuff. So yeah, the joy kernel, right? What is that? Well, basically, it says it all starts with joy. The joys of creating exist to amplify the joys of creating. The pure joy, love, fun, and freedom of bringing anything new into being. And that's what we're doing today. So that's cool. You want to have another one? Let's get another one or two here. Okay, the aliveness kernel. Okay, so now we're bringing it up to date, right? Let's see what that's about. Aliveness is the primary signal. Follow it and meaning will organize itself. Notice what feels alive, choose it, act on it, let it change you. And I'll get one more, as I said. Aliveness is signal. Okay, so most of the condensed notes will relate to the aliveness path. I just happened to add in the joy one, and then we saw that, which is kind of cool. Because what are the chances? Well, 1 in 24 or so. But the pairing of the art with the message is quite a low probability because there's a lot of images, right? So we don't really know what image we're going to get with them. And then what we can do is, choose an image to go with the message more, and then it'll be curated instead of just randomly generated. But I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, what does it say for aliveness as signal? What consistently makes you feel more alive is important information. Not every impulse should be followed, but sustained aliveness matters. Pay attention to it. Okay, so we'll just close that and look at some of this art. So yesterday, and that session is already recorded and posted, is about 15 minutes. I started with some photos I took of nature, and these are the clips that I used. Oh, that'll take two steps to get into them, but we don't need to do it that way. So these clips right here, I cut from the photos that I curated recently, and these were the ones that I put in, these three clips. All right. And this is something that ChatGPT or DALL-E created. There is like two faces on that one, but we edit that. So you may also see that. In fact, you can see that now if you want, as I did it today. Oh yeah, right. So I put that image into Midjourney and just told it to edit just part of it. So we edited certain things like around here and this and up here. So this is the more improved one that's been edited multiple times, and that one was edited it was a step before. Okay. So now you can just see, yeah, this was the button I was looking for yesterday. So now you can see what was made. Now this is yesterday, right? And so we'll look at a bit of that, and then maybe we'll jump ahead and see some of the things that were made today. And so the ones that we really like as we go through here, let's click this like button on it because then we favorited it, and then we can sort by that, right? So later you can filter and just see the ones that you like, and then we can take those further or just take them further at any time. It's just kind of useful to filter them like that, which is a curation step, because otherwise, when you're putting in the requests to do variations of something or remixing it, you might, like this, for example, you might overload the system, right? You might put too many requests in too quickly, and it may not be able to keep up, which I found to often be the case. So that's why it's good to click like on some of them that you like, because then you can go back through again and just see the ones only that you've already liked, because then you can then choose the best of the best as well, right? You can filter it down more. And also Midjourney, so that's all normal, right? Everything I said there is general. It applies all the time. But then I noticed Midjourney wasn't working very well recently, like today. Like yesterday was working fine, but today when I remix something and I put an image to it, like I'll just show you it as I say it. So say I put that image itself in as a style reference, it was kind of not working. It was like saying that it can't follow the link or something. It's like can't downloading the image timed out. So there's just an internal problem where things that were created very recently, it was not allowing itself to access those images. Okay. But we could get around that if we really had to. For example, you could download the image and upload it back again, right? Because if we're, say we find one that we like maybe we like this view, but we want the art style different, right? Okay, well, I'm going to do a strong remix, but like we're going to change the style to something else. And I can click here and choose one that I've already done before. And it's just in this image library. So it doesn't mean that I used it as a style reference. I could have used it as an image reference, style reference, or a character reference, or like omni reference in the past. But we could add images to this. We can just drag it in here, like you can just drag it from your computer. So we can just drag one in to either right here or here, here, whatever. Um, and if you just drag it in here, then you're uploading it and you're making the style reference that thing, right? So I'm just saying we could get around that problem. Okay. Like this one, now it's already a thing that's on the website, right? We can go to link, you can just kind of go to that one and just link it in without uploading it. But we also say that it may not work, right? Um, when normally it would. So here, as a workaround, I'll just drag it in and it will upload. So it just takes a little bit longer because we can't just put the link to that one. Like for example, like this, say if you're uh, going to some other one, but we'll use this one. So I put that job in and the same index number as this, right? So you hit enter on that. Well, in fact, that's already ready then. That link itself will work. You can put that in. We won't do it now, but I'm just saying you would go here and paste it and it will go into whichever one you've clicked that's red selected. Like this would make it go in as an image prompt. If we paste that in there, see? Or if you had this one selected, it will go in there and so on. So you can do that with this URL or like the copy image URL, that will also work like that. You could paste that in. Both ways would work normally, right? And it may work. I'm just saying in general, it usually does. It was just today that some things weren't working. It wasn't able to follow the link. So this is still from yesterday. Like I like that. So let's click like on it. And we may be able to do something with it. I'll try and I'll choose a style reference for it, which has been successful in the past, right? We're going to choose one that like the results were good. We can even use that fluffy snark catcher one if I have the yeah, if I know which one it is. I um, kind of had, well, it's this right here, right? So we can go to that again. See, I'm using that same method I just showed you. Okay, see now that I've selected that, it's red. I can just go in here and paste it, and that will be there. So that's the style reference. A fluffy snark catcher made in probably around June. I mean, you can click this and see it'll go back to it, right? See, it's following its own link. But that right there was a year ago, about 4 days, a year and 4 days or so, May 27th, 2025. A view of a fluffy snark catcher through a window, right? Through a portal in an intergalactic zoo. So it has these special portals. Which do they see one way or do they see two ways? That means it it goes beyond the speed of light, faster than light communication. You're able to see through the portal to views in other places at the same time. That's what that is showing. Like you're inside the zoo. There's a little story about it. I'm not going to tell it to you right now, but basically, the tour guide in that place is bringing these people through, younger ones, and they're looking at these creatures through those portals. And you could think that they're just on the other side of the glass, right? In the zoo, but actually they're in completely different places. It's an intergalactic zoo. And it has these special portal windows that let you see into other worlds. So that's similar to what we're doing here with what we're making. So yeah, as I said, yesterday. I had those photos. We don't see them here, but we have these clips. I do have a list of the images. I've moved them to somewhere else because that's the way I normally do it. I don't put them in here because I put here what I create, and those were things which were photos I took, so it actually goes in another place. But anyway, I had the idea to make an enchanting alien, magical alien world with tiny beings under palm tree like plant things, which you can see here, with some flowering trees and flying islands in the distance in the sky shaped like giant fish. The aliens are like fluffy, furry raccoon like creatures, right? Like this. And you can see those fish islands up there. And like, say we want to make a clip of one of those, we can do that, or more than one. But what annoys me is that all these islands are pointing the same way, but they're going like a school of fish. They're flowing together, so that's also normal. But I would want some of them to be going in opposite directions or whatever, like going whichever way they want to swim or fly through the sky in this case. So anyway, I'm going to make a clip of one of those islands. And you can see the other clips that I've made so far today while we're waiting for this process right here. All right. So now you're seeing me making a clip according to my system, right? So if I name it with that ID there, then it links back to that image, right? And I put the three there too. See, I put that in as well. So this clip is a clip from that image. If we want to make it a specific one, like flying island or whatever, we can do that too. But whatever you want to do with this, clip one from that one, clip two from that one, or like whatever, uh, fish island, like all that is valid, right? Or just simply that. And if we were to have changed that, there's the clip. And if we then changed it, I would put mod before it. So I keep adding things before that. Um, I keep adding them to the front, just prefixing it. If I then clipped from a modified one, I would call it like this. And if it was like another one clipped from that same mod, then it would be called like that. Okay. So yeah, now if we want to use that, we could, but we kind of would need a new prompt because you don't want to have it try to make the whole scene again when you're just talking about that, unless that's what you want. But if you just want to show the island more close up, we can, which we'll do. But I kind of like this one, so we'll say so. And like, say we want to make another remix, like a variation of this, like how we're changing this. That's what I'm doing there. Say I just do a strong remix, but then we put in that thing again, which this fluffy snark catcher. Say we use that style, because it tended to be pretty good. Then we're going to put that in as the style. Okay, and maybe I don't need to click here again after I click there. I'm not sure. That might be an extra click we don't need, but we'd have to experiment to find that out. Okay, so these little islands, right? Let's do that. I'm going to use the new clip now. You can also see the other clips. Um, so I'm going to do that there. Okay, these are the clips I made today. And each one is named so that it traces back to where it was clipped from. Okay, going, well, in whatever order. We just made that. Yeah, that's not a clip, it's just a piece. Okay, so now, all right, so what we want to do is just drag the clip in, boom, somewhere here. Yeah, it'll go, but not an animation, an image. We can click it right. Yeah, you can either click there or there. They're both going to do that. It's an image prompt. That's what we want. And then the prompt is one flying island. Doesn't have to be perfect though, like that wouldn't matter. But there we go as a starting place. Okay, so continuing on, these are ones that I made yesterday. Like if you like those creatures or you want to develop them and improve them further, you can make a clip of it. I've already done some clips, right? I'm not bothering. If we really want to, we can. Like these are kind of interesting. It's a bit like a fluffy little bison thing here. It's like this creature is different, like the combination of a bison and a raccoon. Remember we wrote raccoon in the thing. Yeah, those are interesting too. A bit like a hedgehog. And these islands are also quite interesting, I would say. It's my opinion. I like it. And if we find ones that are really good, like it doesn't matter what reason you like it for, right? If we're like, hey, well, I kind of like the islands in this, we can hit like, right? Because now later, when you look through, you don't need to look through all of them. You could just look through the ones you've already liked, and then your curation will be higher quality at that point. Then you're only doing variations or remixes of the ones that you've already liked. See, this is where I started doing close-ups. It's probably today. So at some point here, we went from yesterday to today, and that was at this point right here. So we switched over, boom, these are now today. And after a bit, I made a new thing, not just the same, like this is good, right? I created another view, a close up. Actually, the style is pretty good already, like what we're seeing there, right? So we don't really have to change it. But then you're seeing the beginning of another remix adventure here. Say we use that as itself as the style reference, and hey, it might work and it might not. Usually it did. Today it hasn't been, like we will see in a moment. Right. So toss that one in there as the style reference. You can even put multiple ones in at the same time as a style reference. We could put that fluffy snark catcher in again too, which is a bird that I made up quite a while ago, but we don't have to. We can if we want to. Where's the thing? See, they're kind of it's moving around a bit because I keep adding, so now they're shifting over one at a time. Uh, so then it's not where I would normally look because I've been looking around here, but no, now it's shifted over to there. Right. So it's throwing me off a bit, but I'll adapt to it. I'll figure it out. But then not living in a adapting in a I'm not going to live adapted. I'm going to live with authorship, which is what I'm doing. And I would encourage you to also to do that. And I can support you towards that as a guide of the aliveness path, which I created. And what we're doing is one of the pillars of that, which is playful creation. The other two pillars are the healing power of nature and inner work. All right, now let's continue. All right, so here's the beginning of these close-ups of the fluffy, furry raccoon-like creature. And you can see that I started with a clip. So I made some clips from some I like, and then we're now expanding those, and it looks very pixelated, right? It's pixel art. But then from this, we evolved it. So we may be able to show something. See this, I traced in reverse. So those are in the order of those, they're going in reverse here. But now we'll take a look at it. We will turn it into the forward order later. But for now, we can probably look. So how did this one get created, right? Well, it's a variation of something, right? It's a variation of that. It was a, it was a, yeah, it was a variation, probably a strong variation. And this one, it's just loading right now. See, it's like going very slowly. There it is. It's like half loaded now. That is a remix. It was probably a strong remix. You can tell when you look at these, because if all these had basically the same layout or composition, like in the thumbnail, then they would have been a subtle remix because only small details change here. But it's a strong remix because when you look at these and compare them to each other, the layouts are all different. So it was a strong remix, not a subtle one. And the parent of this, actually, these are not the other ones, right? This one is not like the other ones. No, these are not the other ones. These here are the other ones from that one. So they're like the brothers of it, right? So the one, you'd have to go back another step to find out how they were created, but they were either a strong variation or a strong remix, right? Most likely these ones. And we will find out in a moment. See, I'm correcting what I said before because these aren't the other ones for this one. Those would be here, right? These are the other ones. There's one, like index 0. Here's index 1. There's index 2. And there's index 3, which is the one that we were looking at. If we go here, mouse over that, then you see that that is the parent right there. And these are the siblings of the parent. These are the other ones. This is the parent, right? You go like this, and then boom, you can see that one's in color and these are faded out. So we just go to that one and we're tracing it back. See, we've traced it back to there. And that one is a remix. So now we know that, see, these other ones, there's those other ones that we were seeing in the thumbnail, but now we're looking at them full size, right? So there we are. And that one, mouse over, you can see that it's index 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So index 0 is the one that's the parent of this one here. And this one itself is a remix. And it is, if you click on this, you can see the difference between those. So it's a strong remix, not a subtle remix, because if it was subtle, well, we'll show an example of that so you can see see you get an yeah, as an example. Like if I do a subtle remix of this, then you'll see what those are, right? And if I do one of something else, yeah, like something else, then you'll see that too. We have to find something to do that with though. So this fox will be like meta fox emerging in a new style, in a new world and everything. But more on that another time, right? See all these with invalid link, right? I put all that work in for nothing, but it was just like a click, right? It was a couple of clicks or whatever. See, so it didn't like the image, which was actually something new. It's part of Midjourney, right? It should work, but it's just a it's just a back end problem. Normally we wouldn't have that. And yeah, I made a clip. No, I didn't. I was gonna say I made a clip from this, but I don't think I actually did. But we could, right? It's a world of infinite possibilities. That's part of what this helps us remember, which is great. They're looking a bit like bandits, right? Because they're raccoon-like creatures. You can see those black bands around their eyes, right? Which is going right around their head. They even have funny hairstyles. Um, but that's neither here nor there. Let's just choose a style for this one as we remix it, like that. With Lou and Thistle in a bubble floating over a stream. Okay, so let's get back there. Right. Okay, so here, these ones are siblings of that one, right? They had the same parent. They were all remixes. And as you see from this, they're strong remixes, not subtle. That's what we were saying. So now I can go remix. I mean, I can go, let's see the parent of that one. Boom. In fact, if we now go back, you got this one, there's the next one, there's the next, it should be, and that, and so on. And I believe we're right. Okay, E4A, right, ends with index 2. There it is. Okay, so see, as we go back quicker now, so you get the whole picture, boom. So now if we just hit the back button, you'll see it forward. This one was remixed and became this, but I put in a different style reference like that, which is why it looked like that. And then going forward another step, we got this by strongly remixing the previous one and using this style reference here, which is kind of like a creative haven on the ocean, maybe in Costa Rica. And then the next one is just it's just a variation of it. Now, is it a strong variation or subtle? Well, you'd have to look here, right? Here's 0, 1, 2, and 3. So it looks like it's a strong variation because that's like a different layout, right? If it was subtle, it wouldn't change so much between them. For example, we can show that if I just vary that subtly. Now, and when we do this, we see when you do a variation, you don't get to change the prompt. You could do a subtle or strong variation. But if you want to actually change the prompt, which includes the images in it, you can do that. So if we do a subtle remix, we could take this style out, for example, or write how we want this differently. And I'm just taking that one out as the style there. Okay, so I've showed you that. We trace that thing back. This is where we're at. We'll just simply open another one because we'll keep the place here, like with our bookmark, so we can continue to move forward as we go through these. Like I clipped from that one. You can see that one right there, which is a clip I made at some point today, not at the very beginning, but later. All right. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? You can always improve upon them. All right. So here's some subtle remixes, right? Both of these are subtle remixes. Oh, no, no. is a subtle variation. Okay, so these, yeah, there you go. I just accidentally went to this other thing. All right. So here we have these subtle variations. Okay, see how the layout is pretty much the same. And then this one here, these were subtle remixes. I had removed that style reference of that kind of creative haven place. And then another one is we did remix something, it's just an example, and we added that style reference into it. All right. And Thistle looking kind of strange there, but all right. There's the little creatures there. Sweet. Um, so if I remix that strongly and we do a different one, like this is a kind of an older Thistle right there, an archetypal Thistle or a canonical from back like before when I decided it was in probably May or June. Like this before Thistle and I mean Luma and Thistle get into the bubble and start their adventure. And they haven't gone far yet. They're just floating over a stream, still in the creative haven on Kalora. Um, so they haven't really gone very far from where they started, but that's fine. So before that, I decided on what the characters looked like, right? And that was like June 4th. So you can see one there. I don't know if we should use that. We could. Let's just combine these. This thing here is based on like Luma and 9D, and you got the Puma with her because it came from a rhyme, right? Luma and this Puma. There's no thistle there. It's just a Puma. That's all right. Right. And then here a subtle variation, right, of the fluffy snark catcher just made now, right? So you can see how it's just slight differences, but still everything in the image changes, but only slightly. The layout stays basically exactly the same. If you look at where the portal is, it's exactly in the same spot. It's pretty magical. And if you do, so you can do that with a subtle variation or a subtle remix, right? As I discussed. And if you did it with edit, you can just edit part of it. And that was a way of changing just what's inside the portal. You like draw like yeah, you kind of it doesn't say edit here. You may do it. Um yeah, so we'd have to go into the edit one to do that. I'm not going to bother with it right now. I did edit something earlier, right? And I showed you that because that's how we got this. Exactly. And you can see we've got rid of the one with two heads, right? Because I can see that there's a tail here. So had him facing this way. So I got rid of the face that was over there from yesterday from ChatGPT right there. Right. All right. So we might as well just continue right here. So it's continuing on in what I made today, right? So we're expanding that world or different views of it, trying to make something, not really trying to do anything because it's only playful creation. So I'm just exploring and I just figured that I would make some variations of what we already started yesterday. See, we're getting into these invalid link things, but some of them will work, right? So you'll see that. Okay. And any of these that are really good, we'll click like on. We can also remix any of them or whatever we want. That's not the only button. It just tends to be kind of a useful one, right? For this stage of the exploration. Ah, look at this. Okay, kind of interesting there. So it is miniature, right? It did say tiny, yeah, tiny creatures. Now this is not written by me. This is written by ChatGPT instead. It's a variation of it. I did that yesterday, starting with my idea, right? And so we tried both my prompt and this other one, right? So yeah, it is a tiny creature in a way under a flower, right? We could use that. Let's change the style though when we do, which is what we will do. Make it a bit like that Luma and Thistle world that's magical with them floating in a bubble over a stream. Here's a bubble on a pillar that helped to start that in the first place, and there's an image with them in the bubble, for sure, before they start their adventure. Like, let's get more playful with it too, right? And use something completely different, like Monty Python, which is what we'll see once it generates it. There's some of those circular compositions or rings floating in the sky, which remember came from, not expected, but they happen to come from a remix adventure of a dragon with coffee in a forest, which came from an actual image, a real photo of a forest. But I could see it. I was actually there, right? So I could kind of see something in a shape between the trees, and that's where I brought that out. So that's vision. See something, create the art. Sometimes it doesn't come from seeing or sensing it at all. Sometimes things just arise like randomly or in some other way. There we go. Okay, I'm going to click like on that one. That was pretty good. What if we say that like Mobius did it? Oh, I thought I was on the top line here. Let's start this again. Okay, no, I didn't add a style reference, but I did say that I wanted it in a different style. All right, you may notice that if you remember, that that's one of the clips that I made late, during the day sometime today, later on, not not earlier, but earlier than now, but later than the beginning for sure, quite a bit. Now this is a bit like, yeah, huh, a bit like Mobius's style, but also different, combined with something else. It's quite interesting. What happens if we use that Luma with the Puma one from quite a while back that has the stars in it? There's two of them. See, there's also that one over there, which has shooting stars around. But anyway, let's use this one. It has different shaped stars in it. And I guess we'll like it, as I was saying, as long as it doesn't take too long. But it didn't, so I'm all right with it. And I also made a clip of that one, I'm quite sure. And he's right there, right? Kind of like my cat or one of the cats that I've had. Um, okay. So yeah, as I said, we started some close-up things. And this is kind of better because of the style reference too. Yeah, that's why it's more high quality. Because notice that the image prompt into that is this, which could be kind of pixelated, but it's because we've got that and that style reference there, then right, the one that ChatGPT or DALL-E first made, which I did by accident, but there you have it, and it's pretty good. Do we want to keep using that same style? Sure, but let's take out this image prompt, right, so that it gets even better because it doesn't need that. And if we want, we can like put this in too, or you could. Now I've got both of them there, right? But if I do it with only this one, well, that you could do that. Or if you want, you could use like the fluffy snark catcher one, right? I would say three. Okay, and then we'll just put that in. So this time I'll just try pasting it now because I've clicked here and it worked. See, even though I didn't click in the text, I had already selected this. That's all I'd done. But then when we pasted it, it still went in and went in there. So that's one step less in like the workflow or play flow, which we now know, and it will do that. It works. Okay, so we got one step. We've done it with one step less. See if I click there and paste it, boom, that's the style we're now using. Okay. Right. See, these ones are more pixelated, right? But maybe that's what you want, right? Maybe you want that style. Maybe we want to see this one kind of like lumen thistle in a bubble with the bird carrying the bubble, which is kind of nice. It's a nice painting. Where is it? And it's kind of like a poster there. So maybe we want to have it in that style there, like that, which is pretty sweet. Okay. What if we want this to become a bear, right? Or a fox or something? Well, we could say that. And it says raccoon like. What if we just change that one word? Notice the style reference, which was I think it was a bubble on a pillar. It was a kind of a archetypal thing for Kaelora back in the day. But let's go with, I mean, it's actually a good, it's actually a good style itself. So here we have bear, right? So let's just do that. And then the only variable I'm changing is that. So here I've got one is fox, one is bear, and then also like say we make it metafox. Okay, so metafox, yeah, but then we haven't given it an image of metafox. Well, metafox is a metafox. He's not just a fox. He exists in superposition in multiple possible realities simultaneously. So he kind of jumps through these different styles. I may be able to show that. I don't know. We'd have to like search for metafox, I guess. We can like look for metafox and metafox and remix rabbit met on October 17th. But before that, we got metafox itself. This might be good right here, or even in this one, I guess. This is not bad. Let's check it out. Right? So you can see 6 images right here, and Metafox jumps through different art styles. He's leaping, and as he leaps, the art is like a completely different style. And now he's bounding again. He's already landed and he's bounding up again. And there he is celebrating his multidimensional nature. And it's glorious, right? So that's good fun. All right. Hey, should we get another one? I guess so. This Joy Sparker thing. All right, let's see what else we got. Um, so I can't predict it beforehand. All right. Okay, that's a kind of loop. It's a spark loop, spark, action, feedback, expansion. And of course, as always, there's a story behind the image, which I'm not going to bother telling you, which I mean, I could, but I'm not going to bother. There's this kind of dragon thing up on a pedestal here. It's a different kind of civilization, and it evolved from something, as always. Let's see the back. Right. Okay. Progress, meaningful progress, a loop, the spark loop, spark, like getting an idea that feels alive, taking action on it, just like I did back in July 7th, 2023, right? And created the first, I mean, not the first, but the dragon, right? It's called the dragon, right? So there you can see it. It's right here. And there's a sequence, and you could also see the strange and beautiful creature. If we run the first, I guess if you run the first art show, present show, and do the first one, then you'll see that sequence, right? We go to the newsletter. I thought that's a project. Okay, it's a project in there. Newsletter, first issue, and then say we run that thing. We have to basically put in a command to do that thing there, and we still have this running. Now, if I make another environment, we can do it, or we'll just close this. Spark, action, feedback, expansion. Okay, when you take action, you get feedback, you learn from that. If you refine it, you keep getting better. You see that with the art, right? So it's evolving. Okay, now we'll just get the show, right? And if I think this will just work, so I'm just going to write it. If it doesn't, then we'll look up how you put the command in. Okay, so then you can see, now it's going to go through all this in writing. We don't want to do that. So now you can see lumen thistle there in a bubble on a pillar, getting ready. There are some bugs with this though. Like if you go back, it can mess with the timing. Um, but yeah, they're preparing mentally. See, now it's not even working. No, it is. Now it is. It wasn't, but now it is. So they're preparing mentally in that bubble for their look at that. It's not even working there. That's supposed to be an image, obviously. Right? There's the fluffy snarg catcher. Now, the reason that other image doesn't work is it was just renamed, right? It'll work again. We now saw that there was a bug there. It just means, yeah, because I renamed it, right? So the link is broken. That's because it was created a long time ago, and then I standardized the names. So we just have to update the link. That's all good. You can read this thing on Substack if you like. Okay, so how did I make that dragon, right? This shows the steps. Don't read it all, just look at the images. I'm telling you the story. So I was down at the beach in the afternoon. It was kind of hot and I refreshed in the water. This didn't even, yeah, it skipped some, right? Because it hasn't shown, it seems like it's skipping them. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. See, so these evolved, but you'll notice that you didn't even see the photos that I took or like any of them. Although they exist, right? Because they had to have, because if they didn't, I wouldn't have been able to make it, because that is the way that I did make it. See, I sketched that on the beach. That's another one. He's like, fuck you. It's a snail man with a spear. But this one is like a dragon or a dinosaur or whatever. And there's another one that comes out of a lotus flower down there. So there's the three. And we evolved it from this one. And I also based it on this pebble in my hand there. And that's because there's these different colored stones in the water. And I was inspired by that. And I made a creature, sketches of creatures on the beach. And then I give them colored fur of the color of the pebbles. We evolved the creature, made the dragon, later combined it with Just for Fun Energy number 18, this one right here. And that's how we got the strange and beautiful creature over here. That kind of then made it anticlimactic, right? Because now I just told you the whole thing, but you didn't see how I made it. Now these are subtle, yeah, I think there's subtle variations because but now from that last one to this one was a strong variation because you see how the layout changed. But then it's a subtle variation again to there. However, this one is actually pretty good right there. And yeah, as I said before, we combine them. So there's the one called the dragon. So that's the canonical dragon. And when I added in that other one, which now you can see that the link was broken, we got the strange and beautiful creature. Great. All right. Should we pull one other one and see what it happens to be? Might as well. All right. Generative thinking. Good. That's good because we got that one earlier, but it was with a view of the white steps. Here we have tie-dye kittens. Um, so here we're creating new ideas. It's generative. Should we do that? Okay. It's not a very hard sell for me. Okay, so let's change that. Let's generate a new idea, right? Let's make a raccoon shaped flying island instead of a fish shaped one. Okay, so it's going to be kind of an island in the shape of that. Okay, flying island in a blue sky in the shape of fluffy raccoon creature. Um, okay, and there. So I've put in that, not a style reference. It's an image prompt. So we have a flying fish shaped island thing. Now I have more of those. If we go back to an earlier one, we can put it in, which we'll do. So we're mixing the raccoon with that. But I don't know exactly how to find it, right? So I'm not really gonna bother. I'd have to go to some art show from the past and flying islands. Then again, we could also search for it and like there's a project that says flying islands. So we can look at it and might see no, but that's super old though. Those are from way before. And yeah, and then there's the one with the flowering trees and stuff. You might be able to see it there, right? So you got this is something that was um, a step towards making it, and then you can see here we got the first flying fish-shaped islands or dirigibles, right? They could be airships, not just fish-shaped islands. But yeah, this is from 2024, and I put that in that video, that ad on Instagram, where I was saying, come alive again in 2 months or less. Now, actually, you can do it a lot faster, really. But yeah, DM me magic. There's hundreds of people wanting that. Of course, because it was advertised, there's a lot more response than if it was just organic. But it was a great start. It wasn't really a start though, it was just something along the way. Because there's a lot that happened before that. Okay, so now say we use that, right? We can use it, it's one of them. There's a lot of other ones, right? This one is not like the other ones either. Um, let's try that. Okay, that thing is what I said there. That's actually a joke from a bouldering movie I saw in like 2009. I don't know what it's called, but they were doing some kind of very hard bouldering, like difficult. Remember, you don't have to upload them. Another way would be to make something. Well, this is a bird. Maybe you can make a flying island shaped like a bird instead of a fish. These things are like airships or spaceships, as you can see. The eye or eye-like thing that you can see in there turned into some other things like these eyeballs and these alien worlds reflected in a giant eyeball. Okay, and it's in 2024. These are a bit of a view of a forest of flowering trees. I started with making just individually flowering trees, like one. Then I got a forest of them, and then I put them on the back of the the flying fish island. Like for example, here's one with those um the blossoms on them, like cherry trees, right? That's what that added, and here it is before that when they're not blooming, right? So that thing is a variation of the other. Actually, it's an edit, so I only edited part of it, and that part changed, which is the blossoms on the cherry trees, but also you can see that the thing that's below it also changed. So I've edited two parts of the image probably at the same time. You can see like a flowering tree there, then you'll see one smaller. It's like a flowering bush, right? So those things were then combined. So I had the vision and then I incrementally built it and then eventually got here and made many others. Like this one would be a parent of many other things that I made that are based on it. Oh, look, there's more. That's a different type of cherry blossom on it. This is another one. It's just the one I just showed you, I kind of like better, which is down here. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else good. Well, there's also other days, but let's just use this one just to be playful there. It's got a castle on it too. I think we have to go up here and do this again. No, we don't. It's there. I got to still go and do this again though, because we hadn't put the job in yet. So then we'll just go here and put that one in as a style reference. But as I said, you don't have to always upload it. You can like go to that one, but you can also use a function to convert the name of this thing to that, right? And it's in a spreadsheet, then later it's in Python, and then you can just have like a list of them and everything will get standardized into like this kind of thing. Um, so we use that, but it makes more sense as a batch, right? And since we're just dealing with one, then it doesn't really matter. Right. So that should just simply work. I'll just I'll just paste it in and then you should see that image there. You should end up seeing that like thumbnail there. And we should be able to it's gone red though, so that's bad. So see it didn't work. Ah yeah, but if we go and if we right click it, copy image URL, then it should work. Because this is from before. This is it's an upscale also. But as you can see, it was smaller, right? Like not right now, but earlier. Notice how it came up like smaller on the screen. It's because it's from quite a while ago. It's 2 years ago. So we'll get rid of the broken image there and then do it. So basically, if they're newer ones, um, so yeah, here I was remixing the same thing, but with different styles, right? And that's what you're seeing. See how these are all quite different. We got four in a row, and then with a different style. And then again, a different style, but they're all from the same parent. So it's a kind of a remix adventure. I found one that was good, right? That apparently, and I was remixing it and I put different styles like this futuristic villa, but in a retro futuristic style on the coast of Amalfi. And we put that in as the style reference. And that's a thing I made a long time ago. Like, see now this is a different style. This kind of island thing here that's like a highly detailed kind of cartoon, right? So you can see it's trying to do that same style. Now we're doing one that's also like this fantastic futuristic villa on the coast of Amalfi, but it's a different one, right? This is quite a different one than the other one. And then see how the result of it is here. And these are from this other thing, which is in these architectural experimentations from probably around April 2025. So I was using that as the style reference again, right? All from this same one. We had strongly remixed that, removed the other style reference, taken out the image prompt as well, and just put different see, and just put different style references in. So that's what all these are, right? Now here we have that one, that poster, Luma and Thistle in a bubble with the bird carrying the bubble through a magical forest, or with like fireflies around it. There, right? So it's great. Yeah, there's a lot of wonder and excitement there. That's good. Like you can click like on them there. You can keep that same style reference if you want, or like change it to this one itself, or whatever, or even it could be a different one. Well, I don't really want to change it to that though, right? It kind of destroys it. There was good ones, the ones that they were, but we could also use this too, which will be quite different. Or if we want to mix the styles, we have that and this one itself, or like a sibling of it as well. There. It's a remix adventure, which we just made now. We're practicing generative thinking. Okay, what else? Oh, aliveness is signal. Well, we've already seen that, right? Yeah. What consistently makes you feel more alive is important information. Not every impulse should be followed, but sustained aliveness matters. Pay attention to it. Yeah, this is a circular composition, a ring in the sky. We can remix it if we want. If we want to know which one that is, we can. I'll show you that, but only if it feels alive to me right now. See, that's what is being illustrated by that. Return to alignment. Yeah, if you're not in alignment, do that. Dance like a cat, right? Uh, aliveness. Oh yes, the three gardens. Interesting. Yeah, we can run that animation faster. Um, I'm not going to do it right now, but we could. That's an example. There must be more in that content though, right? In those condensed notes. There must be more than just that. There's gotta be. All right. Okay. A dancing cat in the garden, in an infinite garden in Kailora, like adjacent to the creative haven. And this cat, in order to create this cat, I had to curate things and evolve them, right? Like remix them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have achieved it. Curate inputs. Good. Okay. So like this cat, you want to see how we made it? Well, we're going to have to look at we're going to have to see um, which one that was, right? Okay, it says here curate inputs, right? So this is the image. And so we just want to go to that one there then and note the index number too. Index number is zero there. So because there's up to four. So that one right there will be this. And then we can, now the only way we can go back though, well, no, it's an imagine. So there's no tracing back needed because it's not a variation or a remix or whatever, or upscale, whatever, or edit. So it's imagine, so it's a root. There's nothing before it. But still, to create it, well, we put this prompt in. We've already done that prompt before, probably. So there's a lineage of the prompt itself. And then there's also this image, which I use as style reference. And that image itself is an evolution of something. Otherwise, it wouldn't have existed unless it was straight up imagined. But it's likely to, oh, it is. Look at that. See, so it was not evolved from something else. It's just an imagine, but it has these things in it. Like if we say to do this prompt again, and it says use in prompt, use image style prompt. Okay, image. That's the image prompt that was in it. Here, this is the style. It's probably the same image. Okay, those two are the same image, right? And then how can the image be itself created by it from itself? Maybe they aren't different. Maybe it's a different one that looks like the same. Well, no, that's saying use this one itself as your image prompt in making a new one or as the style reference. That's not what it was. If we click on those, then we'll see what they are. So, because what the reason I was confused is I have to click on them, right? It's because I can't tell if these were image prompts or style references, but they're both style references. And it had this prompt in it. There was no image prompt. There's just these things as a style reference, right? But if you put in an image prompt, that would be a different prompt, right? Which you could do. But you could also use this itself as the style reference if you wanted. But you could also do that and use it as an image prompt too if you want. Well, yeah, you could, but you could also use this one as the image prompt instead, which was the parent image that we used before, but not as an image reference, not as an image prompt, but as a style reference. But now we're using it as an image prompt, right? Figure that out, right? Maybe we should do something completely different. Okay, so anyway, that cat, um, is dancing. He's in the mid dance, and that's based. There's a lineage of the idea that goes way back, which I know that I talked about and did some tracing of on June 20th, 2025. But the actual cat dancing came from someone else's idea. It was in my Connect with Your Future Self AI art journey back in 2023, where they connected with their inspiring future self and then made a painting depicting it, but not exactly like that. That's like a kitten um, playing with these flowers that fall down in there. And that style is similar to what we saw with the Metafox and the Metafox and the rabbit is on this day, October 17th, 2025. We brought together Metafox and Remixed Rabbit for the first time into the same scene, right? And here you can see them playing together. They're good old pals. There's Metafox imagined as a kind of sculpture without Remixed Rabbit there. But here you got both at once, kind of like a sculpture of both of them. And there's another one with a Remixed Rabbit riding on the back of Metafox as he jumps across a stream, all the bubbles and stuff, and the paint splotches are everywhere. So then you'll see that this is a similar style a little bit. And if we go back to that one and it's index 3 as you see there, say we go back to that one. Okay, so we'll just put that in there. Oh, okay, here we go. So we'll just paste it in here. So we're doing it the manual slow way, right? Because what else are we going to do? We'd have to bring up that tool and then paste the thing in and then copy from it and put it there, right? So it's not really going to save us much. It's only makes sense in a batch. And here we have that. So I'll copy the image URL, or of course we could just use this. It would work either way. We'll throw that in here. So I'm going to strongly remix this or subtly. But then if we're doing it subtle, we'll do a strong first, so you see. Okay, so we're going to use that as the style reference of remixing this strongly and putting that in as the style reference because it reminded me of them. And I thought this is kind of good. And that style's great, right? And we can see them like that maybe. So we'll try that, right? But if we, what should I do with that? Okay, this style reference. See, I'm thinking of putting that there. Oh, yeah, something about this. Oh, right. Because I was saying, well, what about a subtle one? Well, yeah, if we do that, then it's going to more gradually change. And so then you need to do more steps. And that's how you can do things like this. So we'll go to the remix adventure of um, 0524 in 2025 and see the thingy. And I guess view it in the order of how the images. Uh-oh. We'll view it in the order of how the images were created. Oh, I mean, when they were saved. And then as long as we're going the right way, let's just go like that. So then if you use subtle variations, then you can see that it just gradually changes a little bit, right? So if I was using strong variations or strong remix, then the layout would change each time. Whenever I did that, right, strongly, whenever I did, it would change, but it's not. Notice how the layout is staying the same. It's just morphing. That means I was using subtle. So you have to use quite a bit of patience, right? You need a lot of patience to do it. So I brought forward the uh, vision of the dragon there, a dragon with a cup of coffee in the forest. So this is a photo from forest, a picture I took, and it's a clip from a photo I took, a clip of a small part of it. And then because there's parts of the trees that are farther behind and they're in the sun lit up, but then the close ones are in the shade, there's that contrast. So here it is a bit like Studio Ghibli, and then we evolve that and we subtly, you see the subtle variations, or subtle remixes. So that's how we do this and bring in the dragon with the cup of coffee. or cappuccino. And then I start to change it to another style. So more subtle variations, and it will become stained glass. Oops, I was going backwards there instead of forwards because I forgot which way I had to click. That's why it got super confusing because it went forward and then it was reversing when I thought I was going forward. So I'll say that again, and it becomes stained glass. So it goes through different styles, becomes a bit more abstract, and then it becomes more abstract. And the coffee seems to still be there, and of course his glasses, but the coffee's fading away. It's abstract shapes. It gets more abstract, it gets softer, and then we bring in the idea of the circular compositions from there. Although I may have put in, oh, so I was continuing to do subtle variations or subtle remixes, and then I couldn't get to what I wanted from there, right? It wasn't possible. There was too much of a change. It couldn't do it from a subtle variation or a subtle remix, but it could with strong. So then we get a bigger jump. You may be able to see them here. No, we got to use our traces of those things back. And then we'd have to remember when I did it, which I'm not really sure. And we may have to search for like something that says, see, these things are based on those circular compositions, right? We had to make it, we trace back and then show how the thing evolved, right? So we have to remember what these folders are called, like a trace or something. Some circular compositions here, a whole bunch. But somewhere here, and yeah, Meta Fox Remix Rabbit. Okay, we were looking at that on the 17th. In October, we got Metafox beginning to be created and a Metafox sequence. I already showed you that. And then I combined the Metafox with a cheetah too, though, my OG Bitcoin cheetahs. So you get these combinations of a fox and a cheetah. But that is neither here nor there at this point. So maybe it was actually the month before a little bit. Somewhere here there will be a thing with trace. We could search for traces, or it's not going to be a folder called review. It's going to be like trace or something like that. Okay, well, we can just look for that. This thing is done, right? Okay. Okay. It says trace requests. So all these days I did that on them. There's a whole bunch of days, right? And we could easily go to any of those. See, so I was like 1019 or 1020, right? It was slightly off. If we go here, it's just downloads. It doesn't show the trace. These are things that like see that as part of it. It needed that in order to complete the trace, right? To show the evolution of something. And here we have these and these lineages. So we could tell it to make the folder if you remember how, right? Or look up how, but we don't even know what these look like, right? It's just random numbers, right? Like there's these different ones that I traced, but you'd have to look that up to know what it is. So we bring that one up, like apparently that's that. So it's like, how did we make that, right? And then this. So if you choose one, you can then recreate it. That's if the software will work, right? Because I haven't tried it for a while, so I don't really know. You'd have to look at what we do. Like say we want that one, and we just have to see how we did that. Doesn't stay there. Okay. So like what do you do um to do that, to like do the next step with that? Okay, make lineage sandbox, right? That's what you do. Okay, but to do this, I need to be in that other folder. Like it's not going to work unless I'm there, right? So we're just going to run that command and then just see what happens. Okay, it didn't work. Well, that, yeah, okay. That's just because everything's been renamed. Okay. I think it says something was missing. No, nothing's missing. Okay, 7 images. It put these in. So they're in the order. Notice it says one, two, three, right? It's showing us the order. This one evolved into that, which evolved into that, which evolved into that. That's a subtle variation there. It's a subtle variation or a subtle remix, right? But it's not strong. And that's also subtle. And then that was strong. So going from here to here was a strong variation or a remix. And I believe it was a remix because we used a different style reference. And that's why the style changed from here to here. Oh, and then to there. Okay, so then this one changed into that. And now this is very useful, right? It's good. And if you were to just go to that one, index two, see if we just go to that, you'll see that we're not even able to view it very much. We wouldn't be able to trace back from there because you'd have to do a search too, right? Better check that. It says index two. See, so because that's a remix, right? I think it was a strong remix. I'm not sure. Could have been a subtle. I mean, we went from this to that, right? Yeah, it's probably a strong remix. So yeah, I was like really stuck with the when we go back to the dragon with the coffee, I couldn't get it to jump ahead to change to something else from a subtle remix. So there was no way to get there. But we changed it to a strong remix instead of a subtle, and then boom, we got different things and went from there. For example. That's just one. There's actually hundreds of potential examples I could show. See, now we can't trace this back here, see, because you need to have the other ones loaded and they're circular compositions, right? So you'd have to go to, oh yeah, right. So this whole freaking thing. So you'd have to go to organize and see these, like go to a save search and get that open. Like circular. So now we get only these, right? And you actually also have to scroll back and let them load. And you'd have to get back to the parents of that image. You'd have to go farther back. Now, we also can't just go from here. It won't work. It has to end up in the same tab in this one. So I'm just showing you how you could do it. Okay, so I'm just scrolling back to load them. See, if we go back farther, more of them load. Like you can see this thing here, right? And I just made a strong variation of that. But if we want to do it as a remix and change the style, we can. And I'm going to use that one. And now that is going to be the style reference I use, but I have to put it there. I got to drag it over, or I had to click here first. See, because it's putting in as an image prompt. That's not what I want. We don't want the content of it. We're not trying to make a flying cat in the shape of a ring. We're using the style reference of that part. Because if you actually do want a flying cat in the shape of a ring, then you could do this. Now, normally you wouldn't want that, but just as illustrative purposes only, we put it in. Now we could do that, and we could even write the prompt differently to have the flying cat in there, which I didn't do. But if you do, you'll see it'll maybe get even more like that, which we'll try. So it's saying it's this kind of circular composition, which is abstract and stuff. And then if I add in that it's a thing about a cat. Okay. So what are we doing? Like a ring? Are we doing generative thinking or what the heck is that thing, right? Okay. So anyway, I'm just showing you because we're getting playful with it because it's playful creation, it's sacred play, it's pure creation. What does that even mean? You want to know? Well, pure creation, if we look up this content, um, well, we could look it up in another place too, but like, let's see if it comes up in here. Well, um, There should be one that just says that in it, which it might, but I don't think it does in the title. No, whatever. Basically, like Pura Vida. It's a bit like that. It's like creating art without an ulterior motive. It's just creating it for the thing itself, whatever you're creating. You're not thinking of like selling it as you're creating it, right? In the creation, you're creating it because of the beauty of the thing that you're making, or whatever. Like beauty would be one reason. It might be another reason. It's whatever you want. But the point is that you're not doing it for an ulterior motive. You're actually enjoying the process of the creation. All right, look, see, I combined a sailboat in with the circular composition, right? Sweet. Um, I also combined glyph rain with it, raining glyphs, and the sailboat, right? Absolutely. You can see here with this image prompt in there, it's just a clip, which is the beginning of glyph rain, and this clip is from another image, of course, the parent image. And that's where Glyph Rain started. But we don't need that to be in as an image prompt because it makes it so pixelated and all that, right? We don't need it. We can use this style reference still, though, if we want. But we could also do it with a different style reference. Again, I got to get rid of that image prompt, which I did. I took it out. Boom. But then which style do we want? Well, maybe we want that. Well, we might, right? That's one possibility. So we'll experiment with it and see what we get. Maybe we want that. Well, that's fine. If you want, you can do that. That can be the style reference. What if we want two style references? Well, we could do that like that. But do you really want them to be those two? Well, we can try it as an experiment, but I wouldn't recommend it, right? Like Jeeves, I wouldn't advise it, but I still tried it though. You see what I mean? Okay, so then what if we do try more than one, but we choose them, right? Instead. And these are from the Creative Haven here there. Like this is one of just this place itself, and these ones have this character brought into it. Actually, some of them are a different character though. Right. So we have three different style references in there. Okay, and what about mm, yeah, well here originally we're going like this, going forward sequentially, right? And you can see how this style is different. Well, that's because I brought that in as the style reference, which evolved from the circular compositions that we're seeing. So it's all looping together. So I'm not going to close this one because we still have our bookmark here of where we are. So then I almost need another tab, which I have here. And say we want to do the same thing again. Because see here, we're doing a strong remix of this, but I want to do a slight change to the combination of what I'm doing in there, which is what I'm doing. So instead of just doing all the steps again, which would take longer with selecting those, right? Instead, I'm just going like this. Um, we already did this one, okay? But I don't want all three. I just want like say those two or just like that and that with another one or something. So you can go use, and now we're just doing the same thing again. But it's not even a remix of that one though. That's no use, right? So if I go copy prompt and I go back over here, right, and we hit strong remix and we delete those, then when I select all Control 8, right, and then paste Control V, boom, now those ones will be there, right? And so say we take that out and we're just using those two, I can just say, let's do that. And if we do another strong remix, right, reset this, take these out. See, I can't just hit the button to dump them all out, right? Because it would dump out that remix too. So then it wouldn't be remixing this one. So we don't want to do that. So I'm just dumping those out that aren't this, and I'm leaving that. So then if I paste it in again, the same thing. And then we choose other ones. So instead of those two, say we're using like some other combination. So the poster, yeah, that's the poster. Okay, so what if it's the poster and this Luma in 9D, I think, with the Puma. Now there is more mystical ones than that, but that one is like a high quality cartoon kind of thing there. right? So again, and obviously I'm in the midst of a remix adventure, right? Because I'm remixing this, but I'm choosing a different style for it, right? What if we do a combined style of two or three different ones? All right. And the little Luma uh, there. Okay. Wonder what will happen. Okay. So get out of there. So what we're doing here, if you remember, is it's a search. It is a save search. So we're loading stuff by going back. Okay. So if you scroll down, it loads everything down to that point, right? Everything above this will be getting loaded. At least I think it will be, right? Okay, and so we scroll down and we're loading all these things, and you can see, and it'll go back, it'll show you what date, right? It's September 8th, 2025. So because we have that, we're good, right? Like we're able to trace them because of loading them. So now this one could work, right? Well, no, not, it's not ready, right? If you reload this tab, maybe it will, but I don't think it will. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So remember, we wanted to trace that thing. Well, that's why we went into organize and used a saved search, not just a normal search for a word or a phrase. Everything that you write in there has to be in the prompt or else it won't because it's exclusive. So if they're not any words that you write in there that aren't in the prompt, um, it won't, it will only include things that have whatever words you have there in it. They have to be in there. So you want to only put the words that are actually in the prompt in your search. Okay, but using a saved search instead of a regular one, it makes it more sticky and it's less work, right? And it's got a cache for them. So definitely do that. Okay, so you notice here, still doesn't work, right? We can't mouse over it and go back. Okay, but here's the thing I figured out what we can do. We can just do a variation of it, subtle, strong, doesn't matter, or a remix. Okay, doesn't matter. But whichever one, say you click this or this, that put in a new job, right? Now it's going to be running that. Okay. So that thing is going to be happening right now. See, now you can follow that link. That itself is a variation. I think what we have to do though is do it in the other tab, right? Because if we go here, well, now it is possible, right? Somehow, even though we're in this tab over here rather than this one here with organize, right? Somehow it just works. Oh no, it doesn't. See? Because here on this one, I'm not able to go back, but likely we will be able to from the other tab. So I'll still show you. So you've only seen two steps so far. You've seen that we want to trace this one back. We have to look at the prompt, and I put in the word circular. We go to organize in another tab. We go to the save search and put in circular. So I use that one. We actually have to load things too. So you scroll back and load them. We've done that. We then go to the thing we are searching, tracing. We do like a subtle or strong variation of it in order to put that job in. Okay. Then on your tab that has everything loaded, that's this tab in organize, right? With the save search. You go to that one again, and then you'll be able to trace back in that tab. So notice we've gone all the way back here. Now there's still more. It can do more. It's just there's so many, it's going to take a while for it to load them. Okay. So then um, I guess at the top it will be there because we've just created it, right? Because we just did a subtle variation. The whole point of doing this here is just to put it on the job stack, right? It's just to make a link back to it. It's just to put one where it's readily accessible, where you can follow the link, get to that one, and trace that one back. Because we're already here, right? But we can't, there's nothing there to trace back. But here there will be, but you can't see anything though. It says 2 minutes ago though, so it should be the thing. See, like it's kind of weird how this first thing is this wide and then these are little, like, I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, if I click on it and then we go here, you can see that the parent of it is that one. which is the one that you notice how when I go from here to here, the URL didn't change. It's the same one. That's why we click this button to create a link back to it, and it's there. So you just click, you go back to the parent. Now you're on that one, and now if we trace back, then you can do so. But it has to load this, right? You'd have to wait until that becomes color, right? Otherwise, we can't tell which one it is. Okay, but the good news is I've already traced it, haven't I? So then it doesn't matter. But I've showed you what you would need to do in order to do it. And so the longer that it goes after, the harder that will be because you need to load the ones from before. And the farther back that it goes, the more it's going to take to load all of them, right? But then this thing itself, well, that probably is the beginning, right? Because it is an imagine. That's the type of job that it is. It doesn't have a parent. It just has things. Yeah, it just has things that had to change to become that. Like it is a thing that's an imagine, but it may have had image prompts, which it did, which were those. So those things themselves had to be created and they evolved from something and so on, right? So there is that, but we're ignoring that, right? Like this one's quite great, and I thought it could be a good background for a game. And it was made in 2024. So yeah, you can go to those, you can trace them back, you can then show it forward, and it makes a good show. Okay. So here you can see that it's able to load it, right? So you can go back, that's the parent. See, we've just confirmed what we already know, which is that this became that. But here we didn't know how it happened. Here you can see how that thing is a remix, right? But it doesn't tell you if it's a strong or subtle remix. But if you look on the side, then you can see the other ones there. That's one of the others. Okay, and that and that. So that's a strong remix because those ones are quite different from each other, especially that. Yeah, especially the first one. So when we go back to the parent, see any of those four, it doesn't matter which one you're on because they're all going to have the same parent, right? So that one itself is a remix of what, right? Well, of that. And that's a variation of that. And that's a variation of that. See how it's able to do this? It's only able to do that because I loaded them. I was in organize and I put the save search and we scrolled back even multiple times to load them far enough back to get to this, which is 53 weeks ago, May 25th, which is an imagine. There's no parent, right? But it does have those. So, okay, that's an example. So we have the newest stuff there that has circular in the prompt, right? And then you can see that we made these things with the sailboat. So, and we got the flying cat too. Okay, which is slightly more exciting to look at than the sailboat. So we'll do so, right? Following the path of aliveness, or as Bashar calls it, the highest, following your highest excitement. I call it aliveness, right? This is the aliveness path. And there's that cat, and he's in that ring. And you remember that other one? Well, the one that we looked at when we were here. Yeah, I got to go all the way back to that day, right? And we were like, well, what is that? Remember how we looked at that one? Well, I think it was that one. And what if you were to combine them? Well, then you'd have a cat woman in a ring, right? Because it's this one is a woman, the other one, and that one there was a cat. But I have this other art where I've got, and then they turned out to be Lyrans. They're kind of like a cat woman and sphinx creature, but that's going quite a ways back. And this is the wrong one here. It's actually index one, which is that one there. So I was like, well, how did we make that, right? Notice how it can't trace. Okay, no problem. There you go, subtle variation. Go back here. Okay, but we need this. We need to know which one this is. So we'll open that in another tab. This is the tab right here, organized. This is the one where we've done the save search. So that's why that matters, because that stuff's loaded into memory because I scrolled all the way back, like a long way back, right? That's why we're able to trace. So anyway, we have here that one. I hit subtle variation. That creates a link in the newest stuff, so it'll be here. So if you click on one of these and go back to the parent of it, you'll be on that one. And you'll be like, well, why? Why does that matter? We're already there now. Well, it's because here you can't trace it, but here you can. See? And so that's actually an imagine. There's nothing before it, but it still has a style reference in it of something from architectural stuff. In April 2025, an art show called Evolutions of Art, Architecture, and Society. In that, I made this, right? That's one of them. This is a link back to that image. And then that thing, see, if you wanted to trace it, you can't because it's too far back, right? You'd have to load the others, but you'd have to put in a word like, say, civilization, futuristic, or like, or city or something, or even multiple words if you wanted to limit it down more, right? You'd have to do a save search and it would look and have those things. And then of what those words were in the prompt of its parent or the parents of that, and you'd go into that save search and then you would click on that thing and go here and then you'd go here as usual and you would then you'd click on it and go back to that and so on. You would then be able to trace it back from that other one. Okay, so this here, okay, so say we combine that. Well, yeah, we can. That's easy. Either use this or that. Okay, and strongly remix it or subtly. We could do that too. So we're combining the content of both. That's fine, but we should even be changing the prompt because I said a cat. Oh, okay, it didn't allow the image. So this image is not allowed, so we can't use it anyway. So we'd have to pick another one. It's assuming she doesn't have any pants, even though they're yoga pants or something. So this doesn't work. You'd have to use a different image. So then it defeats the purpose. But we do have other ones, so it's okay. Because if you go back, you go around that time and you find other different ones, you might get one that it does allow anyway. It's like, is it even worth it? Not really, probably. You could see if that one works. There's another one I could see down here too. Oh, and there's this other one over there. All right. Oh, and then I could see there was another one over here too. Oh, that's a video though. Right. Oh, I see. It's a video of images, right? It's just like a slideshow. It's not a video from Midjourney. Okay. Right. So we're not really going to bother because if it keeps going, oh, it doesn't allow this, then it'll just be wasting time. So we won't bother. Okay. So we've got the cat in a ring. It's a brand new thing, just playfully created now. Um, and look, what if we want it in a different style too, though? The so get rid of that, and then, well, I mean that's one. It wasn't exactly what I was thinking of though, but we do have a whole bunch of them already in here, ready to go too. Or we have a whole bunch of them in a folder, like we can see some things where we've got a whole bunch, like maybe right here, or right, or there, right? Potentially. Yeah. So that's what I was looking for. So I've shrunk those down though. Oh no, no. The ones that say was in resized were shrunk down. the ones in processed, all I had done is moved it to that folder to indicate that I had processed it. So these things are all here. You can see them and you can just choose any of them. Like say we want to use it as a style reference, we can and we will. So I need the name of that thing to put it in there, right? Or you can just upload the file, like if you want, but we've already done it before. So then you would just go through here and click it, but then we have to look at it and find it. And we don't know how long that would take, right? That would be a waste of time. So I'm just going to go here and then just go directly to that one exactly, which is why the files are named that way. See, they're named with this exact thing. Plus, we can bring up that spreadsheet as a tool and convert the file name path directly to the thing if we have it, which is like a tool. Um, yeah, I guess quick access. So it's a way to get to those. So then we can go back. Oh no, that won't work. Yeah, okay. It would if I had Excel on here. It's not on this, so it won't work. Okay, but we can just put that in a Google Sheet. Then we'll be able to use it. All right. So I'm putting that in as the style reference for this cat thing, and it's the cat in the ring. But it doesn't say cat here. Yeah, we hadn't done it at that point. In a different one, we did put in a cat. That's this one, right? Yeah, flying cat in the shape of a ring. So before I was doing that thing and I was saying, let's put that image in, but then it didn't like the image. Well, you can change it to a cat woman, but take away the image prompt. Okay, but now we don't know what that prompt is. Well, you can just write the word. You can just use the same word. Again, you can just type woman again, right? But we can also go like this. Okay, and then I got rid of the version though. So here's version 6.1. We can do it again with the newest version, which is what we're doing now. Get rid of that. And then the style reference is this, right? See, we're learning. I don't have to click here, make it red, then also click in there again to paste. I can just click this and then paste, which I did. Okay, so we do the same thing. Well, it's not on my clipboard though. Now this is on the clipboard instead of the prompt that was there. Yeah, right. That was where it didn't accept this. No, it says the prompt. Oh, the image, the generated image. Yeah, it didn't want to create this image. See, there's a variation of the other one. So that's a different filter. There's a filter on the images going in. That's what you saw before, where that image was not allowed into it. Then here it did a filter on the images that were generated and didn't allow it. So it's different. Okay, right. So here we have flying Catwoman in a ring. Let's not make her in the ring, not in the shape of a ring, but in a ring that's in the sky. Okay. And we don't need that image prompt. And then if you use, you should be able to use the just for fun energy number 18, right? Which is what we combined with the dragon to create the strange and beautiful creature. Actually, it's not here though. So it's probably going to be in a project, which would be uh, just for fun energy. Yeah, there, just for fun. And then it will probably be here. So we can put that there. So let's just see if that works. So we're using the same image and then the style reference will be the same, but then we can also try it with a different one. So we'll just experiment and see if this actually works. Basically, it's if it will allow it, right? Or if it's going to complain about it. Okay, it's starting that one right now. There. Now you can see a cat here is almost like part of the ring. Yeah, it kind of reminds me there's some things I made recently that was kind of cool, but I don't remember which day it was. I'm not going to bother with um, a better way to do that. It indicates there will be a better way to get to it, but I'm not going to bother with it. You can see it in our save search though. I mean, yeah, in this organized thing with the save search, because if you go to the most recently made stuff and you go back, like this is what we're doing today with it, but you can see that I have this, so you can just see them here. Like it doesn't matter when I did it, and it was a week ago, right? Kind of like that one. Yeah, I made something new there. There. That's different. It's kind of like a big molecule up there above a city. There's these like straight lines here too. Um, okay, and so say we do a strong remix of that using the style of something else. And also this one. Okay, just see what happens. But that's not the only one, right? Yeah, totally. There's other ones. But I forget what day that was. That's where we were like, it's this thing with glyphs. So it's September 9th. Now I'll remember that, right? Okay, so you've got some more different ones here. And here's one where we've already made the ring and then we combine it with a dragon and put the dragon in there, and it's almost like a little portal looking through it. Yeah, I can't just write Python Joy Sparker here. It won't work. You'd have to do that. Let's see. You gotta go to yesterday, I guess. Let's see what else the system wants to tell us. We gotta get rid of this too. All right. Reduce friction. Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I was talking about. So if you're trying to remember where something was, well, I already solved it because I said, well, we're already on this save search of circular, and we can just go back, and then there they are. And then we find out it was a week ago, and we can see what day it was. Right. It was May 23rd. So, yeah. So we don't need this. That's just for number 18. May 3rd. Third? Can't be. 23rd. That's what I meant. Okay, so you can see the ones that I saved that day. You can see bubbles on pillars, not new ones that I made, just historical ones from a trace, early ones that were influential in it, and so I used them to tell the story of how bubble Luma and Thistle got into a bubble on a pillar. Right. So you see, this is also old art of a bubble on a pillar. These things are new on that day. Now we have something else emerging, bubbles in the stone or portals or some kind of or windows, kind of something like an apartment, some kind of house built inside the stone. So then these are like windows into it or out of it. So this is all new stuff here on that day. This is old, but it's taking something I did before and having ChatGPT or DALI probably within it, updating it, upgrading it, and it's pretty cool. It did great, and same with that. It's an upgraded version of the thing which was made probably way back in like May 2025. Those are new clips. That's like already made in the past, right? September or October 2025. This is like new or newish, where we got this miniature stuff and in a tree. Okay, and it's also from the past. It was to show Luma and Thistle in a bubble over the stream, right? Where that came from. So we've traced back and showed these, but then also where they came from, which in order to do, you'd have to know, um, you would have to, yeah, this goes all the way back, but then to show these, like they should be a show. How does that work here? Yeah, well, let's just copy it. Actually, it's all there. So what we have to do is run the show, that one. So if I go like this and we make it just do that thing there directly and run it as a little show, then we will see all those images in that order, or look at them as a web page, which we already generated like that. There. Okay. So if you run it as a show, then you'll see that. Maybe there's time for each one or no. So there was a dragon dreaming, there's Skellor before he was called Skellor, and you can see the origination of the bubbles on the pillars right there. So I made a clip of that. That's where it started. It came from this. There's the clip. And then there's this art of these bubbles on pillars that I made based on that clip. The idea originated randomly, right? It happened in that art. I didn't try to make it. Then we have expanded that motif, right? You can see the bubbles on the pillars evolving. This is just early art of the bubbles on the pillars. That's later ones. That's a later one where it kind of looks like the style of Kaelora, a canonical style for Kaelora or Luma's world, right? She lives in the creative haven. That's Luma. She lives in the creative haven in of Kaelora and she's an ambassador and a playful inventor. And this is her sidekick, Thistle, right? And there they are in the bubble on the pillar, right? So I showed you the earlier things that had to lead to it in order to create it, but you didn't see all of it because I didn't show you making Luma before. But you can see, like from earlier today, there's a picture of Luma that came up, which I will then show you. And it came up with some message because we used that kind of sparker thing that combines a random image that it picked. It happened to pick an early image of Luma before the one where I showed you where I said this is Luma. Like that was where I was like, it's more of a higher quality one, right? Um, so it was before that. So before June 6th, June 4th, 2025. And it came up today. And that just happened randomly. And it's with one of the notes, one of the condensed notes, right? Here we've taken Luma in a bubble with Thistle and combined it with some alien landscape that we already had. But this was done in ChatGPT, not in Midjourney. There, great. Yeah, so I did do that earlier. I may be able to bring it up. It was, yeah, well, it's going to be in here, right? Because I did that earlier today. But then the thing is, I don't necessarily know which one it is because that's just text. It doesn't show you the image. But it's generative thinking. Okay, that's the first one we got. That thing, it's a uh, white steps by the ocean. That's an example of bringing a vision from the mind into reality. Here we have joy kernel, aliveness kernel. I don't know if the joy kernel one is going to show with this early Luma, but maybe. No, it was that. We saw that already. So I don't know if the next one is it, because it's something that I didn't show you, right? You didn't see it because it was something I saw before I ran the video. So we may have to go to earlier ones. No, but these are ones we'd have to go to earlier ones. Seems to me, it seems to me we're gonna have to go back. So we'll go back earlier. Okay. Uh, there's this one. So this is funny because it says identity evolves through action, and it's Luma before she became the Luma that we all know and love, right? Or like basically the canonical Luma. Is it this? Uh, it's going to be either this or that, right? I don't know, something. I'm pretty sure that I did this before I started showing you the video before I recorded it. So it's something that happened today, and it was this afternoon, I think. I'm pretty sure. Kind of weird. No, but this is going back to last night, though. Well, we don't have anything else because, yeah, we don't have it. Okay, and it doesn't matter. So it also shows we're going to make a better creative system, a thing that keeps track of anything, right? A character, a story, a world, whatever. So if you look up Luma, you can see here's different versions of Luma before and here and whatever, right? Okay, so that's part of the motivation of creating that better system. Okay, so I already told you, right, that that's Luma, right? Or this. So I'm like, okay, that's basically Luma. Then we went ahead, right? We already got Thistle, we got Luma, and then we put them in a bubble on a pillar on June 4th, 2025. So that's there. That's what it is. So if you go earlier, then you'll see an earlier version of Luma before that. But anyway, something popped up. Yeah, so then that one was in there. But then how are we going to find the other one? Maybe, maybe it's in this folder, right? It could be. And if so, we could say, well, look at any of the things that came from this thing, right? In the logs. We could say, look through that, search any of those in that folder, then it will pop up. But I'm not going to mess with that on the fly right now. Identity evolves through action. Absolutely. Okay. I guess that's about it. So we'll just kind of wrap it up. You can see the new, oh right, yeah, we tried this, right? So this is what we got. Just for fun energy number 18, that woman who is the parent of the strange and beautiful creature, when you combine her with the we don't need you already saw the image when you combine it with the dragon. So here, that's what you get, right? And if it doesn't work, you can try it differently. It's kind of this cat like flying in the middle of it. Oh, right. So right around here. Okay. So you can see that new stuff. You also see the sailboats. So what we did is try them with different styles. Sailboats, glyphs combined, different styles combined together. This is something we just tried. So you can see the results of it here. And then we're creating new art and new styles, right, at the same time. So then you can use those in future things. And anything you like, you can just go, I like it, right? Or you can download them. And then any of the things that I've downloaded are then in that system. Where if we then do this, we're going to get a random image, right? Something I made and saved, like these white steps. Um, we will get that along with a note, one of the condensed notes, right? And there's the back of it. The joys of creating exist to amplify the joys of creating. That's the purpose. The pure joy, fun, love, and the freedom of bringing anything new into being. I think it just skipped one there, and it did, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, so the next one, we already know reduce friction. And you can see how that house is all smooth, right? All of these cards are getting saved, but they're done randomly. They're being created randomly. And a random image from the archive, from something I've saved. See, if we don't like them, we can take them out. We can delete them, update the cache. right? And then it won't be able to show it. Or we can put it in a folder where we ignore those ones or whatever. Okay. And we can combine the message with a different image or the image with a different message. And that would be like human curation of it instead of just the randomly generated. So we can create something new there. That's the other, is that the other one? I think that's the other one. I was mentioning there was two of these that were in there in the style references. I think it is, right? It's an earlier thing trying to make my dad. But I used a later one, but this is one of the earlier ones along the way to make that. What do you mean guiding principle for creating? Well, follow the sparks of excitement. They point you towards what feels alive right now. Lean into what brings you joy, the lightness that makes the process worthwhile. Honor your passion, the deeper current that keeps calling you back over time. See, like excitement is one thing in the moment, but passion is like long term. And never forget fun, the playful spirit that turns creating into a celebration, not a chore. That reminds me of the cat again. Yeah, the cat dancing in the Garden of Kelora, right there, or one of the other ones, right? We have a whole bunch of them. If you do a search and you go cat dancing, you get all those. You can use we're getting more of them because we created some new ones. But yeah, you can use one of the save searches and bring it up. But we've already used up tons of memory on this computer, right, with this search here. So there's not a lot of point of doing the other one at the same time. Here, see what I have. There's a cat. See, it says my cat dancing. See, it's a save search. So this is quicker than if you type in the prompt because it's the same again. And then you can see right there, one that I liked before. See the curation's already there, and this cat's dancing. Um, and you might be able to trace it back, but you'll only be able to go as far back as what you've loaded, which is why you use the save search. See, that's a remix, but it doesn't know of what. It's from 39 weeks ago, August 25th. See, of what? Okay, but that's fine. That's why you scroll back, you load them, and then it's able to search. And then it's able to trace back. See, so now that was a variation of that, and that's a remix of that, and that you still don't know, but you have to load before that point, and not just before that point, but you have to load at least back to the parent of that one. Otherwise, there's no link, right? It needs to have it loaded. So once you do this, it gets in the cache and then it knows about those and the link. So anyway, I discovered that. So that's how you're able to trace them back. But what we do is use a system. I even have an automated one and run it to do the tracing back. But the unfortunate thing is we still have to do this step. So you got to go to organize, go to your save search for whatever, for words that are actually on in the prompt. They're in it every time, not just in part of it, but it has to be they're words that are in the prompt, like you haven't taken them out later or whatever or earlier, because those ones won't be included then. So anyway, you have words that are in it and you do this and you click it and you have to scroll back. Once you've done that, then you could run the automated thing, which would then trace repeatedly and it logs it all. So it gets it. And that's how we're able to then show those things where we can see how it happened. I thought it was that day. We looked at something, remember, and we said, okay, there's these, and we say like build that thing, right? Like show me the okay, this is in the forward order, right? The right order. But if we say like do any of these things, like get it again, you have to generate that thing because I've deleted the folder, right? So it's really just this. It's just that command, but then we need to still put in the you have to say like do the whatever's in this thing here. like that or that, whatever. So we could do that one. And so now we're on a different one. And it's similar to the other one you saw, but it's a different one. And then now we can also automatically turn that into an animation instead of just like clicking through it. We can automatically animate it and we can put timing on those. So that's good. What the, what are we looking at? Oh, I see. It put it into today's folder instead of way back where we were. Yeah, that's because that's what it was told to do. That's how it works. That's just the way it's programmed. You could change that, but that is how it's set up. Okay, so this one, now we're probably gonna get one that goes from that Dragon with a Cup of Coffee remix adventure from May 24th, 2025, and going through the stained glass style and into the stuff. So we're gonna see it go through that and then connect and get to the circular compositions, or one of them, which then gets to something else. So here I get to this and I start having some little trees, foliage and sky in there and stuff, but then it was stuck using subtle variation over and over. It was not able to jump to what I wanted, a circular composition. It just couldn't do it, but then I hit strong remix and it did. So you can see why these are all subtle, like, and they're just slight changes. So I had to use strong in order for it to become something else. And that's how we got these. And so that is a strong variation from there to there. And so is that. And also so is that. And when I did that, I combined this with another thing in some way, combining with a sailboat that was, well, it may have been a flying sailboat over a kind of island in the ocean, right? In the style of Mobius, which you don't see here. It's the thing that I combined that with, which is how we got this, where you've got a ring. It's now in the shape of a ring too. If you want the sailboat one, then you got to know where that is, which we might be able to get, but we don't really know, right? Like if we looked for, you can go to the pieces and look for um, the, yeah, we can go to pieces and look for sailboat, and if it's in there, we'll get it. Or we can do another thing, or you can do a search. See, one a good thing to do is do both at once and go in organize and do like one of your save searches, and so you can have that going and go and do the other thing and come back. But this is really useful having that. If I go here and just search for sailboat, we can see, and it's not listed in there. Then it was like, then it'd be like, oh well, where else? We might look somewhere else. And it's like there's no point, right? Just search. But if I type sailboat here, then we'd probably be searching for sailboats within the saved search of my cat dancing. It would have to have both, you see. And if it's my cat dancing in a garden or like the garden infinite gardens on Kalora. So the word garden is in the prompt in this within the save search. So it's very useful to have save search, and you can search within it like pixel art. If it's pixel art of my cat dancing, then it will get some things back here like this, where I was trying to make it, right? And some of them were good, and I selected those from it, right, and put them into the show. Okay, so that's good. And over here, we see some new stuff that we were making. And then there's what I was making earlier today that I was showing you. But as you can see, it kind of will go infinitely, and we don't need to do that. It'll take forever. So we can get rid of it. I guess it's this. I mean, here I'm saying I'm in organized. I don't know if that's what we want. I think that's where, yeah, because this is another one I added in the front. So this is where we have, that's where we were. So I was showing you what I made earlier. And yeah, see how that thing it has this brought in as a style. That's why there's those things there behind him. All right. And I already remixed this or something, right? Certain ones, something. But anyway, say, and look, we have more possibilities now. We brought in more stuff. Like say I remix it with that. Right. And remember, if there's ones that we really like here, we'll click like on them, right? We'll filter them. Okay, so this is stuff I made earlier today. So I wanted to show you that. Here I was just bringing back to life these giant mushroom city things. So that's what I did. And we even combined those probably too, like the stuff we are doing with that. See, this is what to get this effect, we brought in the style of the fluffy snark catcher, which I showed you earlier, but I did this stuff before I even recorded, right? That's why I showed you certain things so you can see how I did them. Okay, so I played with this close up of the raccoon creature, which was a new view instead of showing different ones, like different raccoons in a landscape, right? So we did that, and I just remixed it. I remixed different things. So we tried some different things. That was earlier. Then we're able to feed that back in. So we can pick one, any of them, and then combine it with the larger views that we made before, right? But you kind of want to pick one that's like a good style too at the same time. But like say we pick that one, right? So then we can use something that we did. Oh yeah, actually that is this day today. And then uh, just look at them, and then you can see. Well, we did something. Ah, okay. We can just go to yesterday. All right. Okay. It doesn't show any. All I have is this from Dali. Okay, but I made some. They're just not downloaded, right? They're in the thing. But say we just use that one, for example. Well, that's what I made yesterday. The improved one is today. So that one is one of these two. That one there. Okay, so let's say we use that one then. So then it's going to be the image prompt, right? So I'm going to drag that one in. All right. Making an image, not a video. We're putting it in as an image prompt. We're using that one too. Okay, because we're combining the big and the small together now, and the style will be the same as this or that. You can make it that style, or it could be like this style, whatever. And the prompt, instead of the close up, it would be the full one, which would be what we had before. So I can either go to search and put in raccoon, right, and get it, or we can go into the chat yesterday and get the prompt without having to re-get it. We can just get it. But that's not it though. Well, that's my prompt, and then ChatGPT made that art, but that's not what I wanted. In the next chat, I rewrote my prompt. I did it like this. So then it wrote me a prompt and wrote this longer one, right? So we have two variations of it right there. So we got mine and then we got that. So we don't need this. So then we just put that prompt in. And if you want the aspect ratio to 16 by 9, so like full screen. So I'm creating that. So then we can just simply do that again, but I don't want to click there necessarily because here is our bookmark of coming forward, looking at what I made earlier to show you chronologically. So imagine, and then if we just say do the same thing again, but with a different prompt, we can, once it loads, we can say, let's do that. So then the other prompt is this one. Yeah, and it's okay. Okay, so now we're combining both the big and the small. First, I made the view. There's some things we saw earlier, right? With, a kind of a landscape and trees and stuff and flying islands in the sky shaped like fish and these little raccoon characters, but they were from a distance. And a lot of it was either like pixelated or whatever, or some blurry styles and stuff. So I made some of that. I improved some of those. Then I also did some close-ups of a single raccoon. So that's what I did today that I hadn't done yesterday. So we've added that in. But what we did today is we created those, but we also made them in different art styles. We remixed them and tried it with different styles. So we get tons and tons of combinations. These are, of course, with the style of the fluffy snark catcher brought in as the style reference. So we get those and we're able to combine, but oh no, this is fine because that's his front leg or paw and that's his back one over there. I was going to say it's a bug, a mistake, but it might actually be okay. Front one, back one there. And then we can combine the close up with the overall view of any of those that we made before. Now we have like huge numbers of possibilities. We got 100 pictures of a raccoon close up and 100 pictures of the whole view. That's 10,000 combinations if you were to combine them. But you only want to combine the good ones, so you pick ones you like. So that's why as we go through, if you see ones you like, you can hit like on them, and we're curating them so that when we go and look at only the ones we like, we'll be able to do that. So if you go organize and then you search for raccoon, remember you can do it. Remember, save searches are useful. How do I move this though? Well, if I click there, we can do it. So with save search, we make a new one. And raccoon, there. This is what I'm calling the save search, and this is what it will be searching for. Okay, so then if we use that one, then if we want only the ones we liked, then we'll do that. So use a filter and only things we liked, and now we got curation. See, so this is great. There's one from yesterday, only one, right? I only click like on one, but I didn't do that yesterday. I did that today. I happen to go back. I happen to like it. There it is. And yeah, and then you can combine it. And remember, we have two prompts, but we don't need to use both. We could just use mine too. Use whatever and use whatever gives you the results you want, right? So let's use that because I've already tried them before. And I showed you today we tried both, but you have to actually look at the results. We haven't done that yet. You'll be able to see it. So here I'm using the prompt I wrote, and then we're combining both where we get um, we're combining both where we get this itself. We don't need the black on the sides. We can put it in with that, but like I'd rather not. I'd rather it without the black on the sides. If you use edit, you can make it fill this part in. We're not doing that right now. That takes longer. I'm just gonna clip it. Now another way would be to screenshot, like right like this, but then we're making it from a smaller part of it, which is fine for our purposes. But it breaks the link because although my search can still find it, um, because it's not exactly the same because it's at a different scale. Okay, but for our purposes, this will work fine. So we're saving it in today and we're going to call it the right thing. We're going to just do it properly. We'll do that as I go right here because now the tracing is already done. You know that that's a clip from this one here. And we're putting that one in. And it's the newest clip there. And it goes in there. And the style we want could be the same as what that was there, or just you could leave it blank or pick one that you do like well, maybe something like these other ones. See, they're very different. And if you do that, it will maybe get a little pixely. It's a little painterly too. But let's just use that just as an example, right? I don't know if you can drag this into the other tab and put it in there. I think actually that doesn't work, but all we need is the URL of it, and it will go in as the style reference there. Okay, so I've done that. I showed it to you, and you can also see in this tab where we've got this organized and seeing these. Notice how it works. It's able to switch and it keeps track of it, right? So this works well with a saved search. That's why you want a save search, not just a search, because save search works awesome. And we've put a filter on where we're only seeing the liked ones. So that helps us. So you can see some of my early curation, and I've liked those ones today. Look at that. And it makes an art show on the fly. It's awesome. Yeah, so you're able to go here and you can go back and forth and you can create stuff, play with them, remix, and go back to organize, and it'll be there right away. So that's how it works. So that's why you want to use a safe search. So I've just demonstrated to you why it's valuable because it actually works, and you're able to do the tracing if you need to. Like if you care, you can do that because we got the search on, right? We did in organize, we did the save search. So now if we go here, we're able to actually trace these back. Okay. So I imagine this one. This is what I put in. We already saw this before. And then that turned into this, with the different style reference, right? It became that. And then with this other one, it became this. And then as another remix with this style reference, it became this. And then well, that's it. That's how I made that one. Okay, so here we have our latest experiment. So that's back on a close up. It was just a remix of the thing, and I put in a different style. See, because that was the one that we were remixing. So we've changed it into this, that, or that, which is cool. And then here, what we did is put in my prompt that I wrote originally, right? We imagined it. We've combined the big and the small, right? We got the whole view, and we also have a close up of a single character, right? Which I made today. So we combined both. And we've done it with not only the prompt I wrote here, but also with the prompt that ChatGPT wrote based on my prompt here. I'll put that up there, but it's too big, then it blocks it out and it gets smaller. So we'll leave it. Okay. And then, so with that longer prompt, we've got this. Okay. And then I like that. And we can make a clip of that thing. The fastest way is just Shift Windows S and go here, right? Which we can do. But the other way would be copy the image or download it, then crop that image. Then we would be cutting it from the actual detail of that thing at the level of the detail of the original image, not rescaled down as we're seeing here. It takes slightly longer, but normally I would save the image and then edit it and just cut that part out. Here I did it with a screenshot on the fly with Shift Windows S, giving me this. Okay. And this reminds me of a thing. If I can bring it up, if I can bring it up, I will. And I think I can. If we search for fire, we probably will get it. Well, it's not that. It's probably this. Okay, so here I'm just saving the clip and naming it according to where I got it, which is this. So you can copy the job ID, right? Go copy job ID, but we need that too, index 3. Okay, sweet. So you saw how I did it. You see that I've now seeded a new idea here too. Um, and then these, we did something else. We've got the small prompt. Did we do the same thing? No, it's just, it's just another imagine. what we did. We put in these two image prompts, but they're different ones. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the other one was using from ChatGPT. It was using that main thing there and that zoomed in close up on a raccoon. But this other one is we were doing the same thing but with different inputs. We used one of the things that I'd already liked, curation, as the big image, and then we used a different one for a close up, which was this one, both as image prompts, and we chose a style reference, which was that one. And so that's why it ended up like it is here. That's how it got to this. Okay, and that makes sense. There, that's good. Okay, and if you want a different style as well, if we want to change it, we can, right? And so on. Anyway, that's a whole new one being created there. Yeah, so the poster one is pretty good. I think it is here. That one is good. There is a thing that's kind of a bit like anime, and it is from earlier than the one with Luma in 5D, right? 7D. There's a thing, there's one before, yeah, before this. No, it's here it's showing after, but I may have made it before, a bit like anime. I made that though, right? As well as all the other ones. Okay. Okay, so that's good. And that's pretty much it. So I've just showed you, I told you the story. You didn't see all of them, all these though, but it takes a while. And it's working, right? It's working quite well, right? These are good. So there was quite a lot. Like this has to get improved to get better, but you can do it, right? It's like a kind of a it's something that could be worked on. Like you could say you like it, or you could put it you can put them in folders like can edit. Yeah, this one we can make better or whatever. We can vary. It's like saying I want to do that. The reason I made those is because if it can't keep up with me, right? If I'm putting in these job requests and then it isn't able to keep up, then I can just mark some opportunities instead, right? We can look through, we can click like on some, and then that way we've done the curation, which means we'll be putting in higher quality job requests after because of that. Then we are able to do what we said here, right? Because we're on this save search. Yeah, we're on a save search, or we were on a save search. Maybe that's in the other one somewhere here. Yeah, it is. So save search, Raccoon, only liked. There they are. But if you don't care about that, you can just see everything instead of just what you liked. So you can see all these raccoons close up, but earlier you can see the other views. And I did make some more of those today, but then I started the close up thing, right? Oh, we already like that. I was gonna like it, but we have already. Okay, so you can see how that works. And if you want to do the same thing with a different style, we can do that. And if you want, you can bring in an image prompt of a close up on a raccoon too, or a raccoon creature, or even something else, but then it's more random at that time. There. Right. So we'll do that. Oh yeah, right. Well, this is another one. It's anime. This is this Luma 9D. And then, but we're going to add in an image prompt of a close up of a raccoon, like that one, right? Or any of them, like this, whichever character you like. Okay. And that changes it. So you can see how we're developing it in multiple levels or phases, right? We've got the initial vision, we start making it. We choose some we like, we make variations of them or remix them. We also make a close up of the characters to fine tune them into what we want them to look like. Then we recombine both the overall view plus the close up. And then you won't have like a super pixelated thing, right? Because it might have had that at the beginning because we just had small things like going in little clips. So that's why some of the earlier ones are like kind of pixelated or it thought I wanted like a pixel art thing. See like this, right? And so we evolved from that and we've got our close-ups. Got different ones and different styles because I experimented with that today. And then we combine them back together again. We did that later. So um, then this is what it's creating now. There. See, so this is like clearer right here. Notice how it's more clear. It's not like pixel art, right? Oh, it's kind of trying to make it that anime thing, right? But what if we do go with that other one, right? See, I'm experimenting. It's a scientific process. Okay. They are kind of like raccoons, see? Okay, so there, we've created a new world from my imagination over 2 days, right? First day was a very short session. I only did about 15 minutes. Today I did a lot more. And then I've played with it. I've showed you different things. I even went back and traced some things of where did the idea of the flying fish islands even come from. I didn't tell you how I got that, but I still showed you how I made some of it. Okay, and that's about it for today. Great. Thank you for watching and enjoy creating. But overall, right, follow the path of aliveness, which has three pillars. This isn't saying to live in a certain way. This is saying that I've found this pattern works, right? And that you can find your own way that works. So the three pillars are the healing power of nature and playful creation, which is what I demonstrated here today. This is all playful creation, sacred play, and pure creation, which is creating with no ulterior motive, just creating for the creation itself, like for the enjoyment of creating, or for the thing that you are creating. And the third pillar being inner work, which is in my world is like giving yourself compassion and also like forgiveness. It's not just forgiving yourself, it's forgiving others and forgiving yourself. Now there's other things you can do in inner work, but those are kind of the main ones that are very powerful. Sweet. And with all that, you're able to live your dreams, right? You can create whatever you want and live like Remix Rabbit and Metafox. Great. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.